Extra kicks off today's game with a swamp and a soul ring. Sam follows up with an island and a sleight of hand, while John plays a tap Dreamroot Cascade, and Tom ends the first turn cycle with a forest and a soul ring of his own. Extra then takes his second turn, playing a plains, and tapping forward to cast his commander, Elenda, Saint of Dusk. He then passes to Sam. Sam plays a Carplusian Forest, then pays 1 life to cast 3 visits, getting a commercial district, triggering its effect to surveil a card to the graveyard, before passing the turn. John plays a forest, followed by a Fanatic of Ronus, and a pass. Tom first casts a Kadama's Reach, get a mountain, and a forest. He plays the added forest, then ends the turn with an Oval Wall Tracker. Extra plays a plains, and casts a Well of Lost Dreams. He goes to combat, sending Elenda at Tom, triggering Well to pay 1 and draw a card. After that, he gives the turn to Sam. Sam plays a Cracked Crown Pathway, then casts his commander, Storm, Force of Nature, before giving the turn to John. John plays an island, followed by a Frontier Siege on Collins. He moves to his second main, triggering Siege to add 2 green, which he uses to cast Arcane Signet. Once in play, he passes. Tom plays a Cinder Glade, and casts both his commander, Wolverine, Best There Is, and a Beastie Beatdown, using Wolverine to punch Elenda, forgetting she's a 5/5. Tom then goes to combat, attacking Extra with Tracker, before going to his end step, triggering Wolverine to gain a counter, and give the turn back to Extra. Extra plays a swamp, then casts a Sanctum Seeker, and passes. Sam first casts Seize the Spoils, discarding a card to draw 2 and make a treasure. He plays a Tide Channel Pathway, and goes to combat, sending Storm at Tom. This triggers Storm to add Storm to the next spell. In his second main, he casts a Frantic Search, triggering Storm to make a copy. After both copies resolve, he casts a free-running, overpowering attack on Storm, and goes back to combat, again sending Storm at Tom. Not wanting any more Storms, Extra responds with a Bovine Intervention on Storm. Having lost his commander, Sam passes to John. John first triggers Siege to get 2 green, he plays a forest, then uses the floating mana to cast a Thoth Vessel. After that, he goes straight to his second main, triggering Siege once more, this time helping him cast his commander, Koma, World Leader. Next he casts both an Eryximethys, Slumbering Isle, and a Delighted Halfling, triggering Eryximethys to remove a counter. Once everything is in play, he passes. Tom plays a Cracked Crown Pathway, and casts a Twin Flame Tyrant. He goes to combat, attacking John with his Wolverine, which gets blocked by Halfling, causing Wolverine to trigger on end of turn to get a counter. Extra first goes to combat, having Sanctum Seeker go at Sam, triggering its effect to drain each opponent for 1, while paying 1 for Well, and drawing a card. In his second main, he casts a Sign in Blood, drawing 2 and losing 2 life, followed by paying 2 life for a Godless Shrine. With that out of the way, he goes to his end step, where Sam uses up his mana on a Chaos Warp, transforming Tracker into a mountain. Sam plays a Spire Garden, and recasts his commander, Storm, Force of Nature, followed by a pass to John. John first triggers Siege to get 2 green, using it to cast a Simic Signet, triggering Eryximethys to remove a counter. He goes to combat, sending Koma at Tom, triggering its effect to make 4 coils. In his second main, Siege triggers once more, this time funding a Flare of Cultivation, triggering Eryximethys to remove a counter, before resolving to get a forest into play and another into his hand. He then plays the added forest and gives the turn to Tom. Tom plays a Carplusian Forest, and casts a Contest of Claws on Koma, paying for reward, triggering Contest to discover and cast a Dusk Shell Crawler, which gives a counter to Wolverine. He then goes to combat, attacking Sam with Wolverine and John with Tyrant. Followed by a move to his end step, where Extra intrudes with an Infernal Grasp, destroying Storm and losing 2 life, alongside a Wolverine trigger to gain a counter. Extra plays the Plains, followed by an Amalia, Benavides Aguirre. Next he sends his Seeker at Tom, triggering its effect to drain 1, Amalia to explore a land to hand, and Well to pay 1 and draw. In his second main, he casts a Celestine, the Living Saint, and gives the turn to Sam. Sam first casts a Big Score, discarding a card to draw 2 while making a treasure. He then plays a mountain and passes the turn. John first triggers Siege to get 2 green, using 1 to cast a Wild Growth on a forest, triggering Arixmethes to remove a counter. He then recasts his commander, Koma, World Eater, again triggering Arixmethes to remove a counter. He then goes to combat, sending his 4 coils at Tom, before giving him the turn. Tom first casts Gimli's Reckless Might, alongside a Finhorn Elves. Next is combat, where Wolverine goes at John, triggering Gimli to have Wolverine fight Celestine, while triggering Amalia to explore a card into his graveyard. John then blocks Wolverine with his Fanatic, but meets a response from Tom in Chaos Warp, turning Fanatic into a Finhorn Elves. As a result, John dies to the overwhelming trample damage, leaving Tom to pass the turn, with Wolverine getting a counter on the end step. Extra plays a Plains, then casts a Vindicate, destroying Tyrant. He then recasts his commander, Elenda, Saint of Dusk, and goes straight to combat, sending both Amalia and Seeker at Tom, triggering Seeker 2 times, and Amalia to explore a land, and a card to the graveyard. John blocks Amalia with Crawler to keep himself alive. Then Extra goes to his end step, where Sam casts a Road, getting himself a tapped mountain. Sam has a little bit of a repeat from his previous turns, playing a Shivan Reef and recasting Storm, Force of Nature, saying that 3rd time's the charm. Tom first casts a Garrick's Uprising, triggering its effect to draw. He then sends Wolverine at Extra, triggering Gimli's to have Wolverine fight Seeker. Extra then takes the hit, and Tom goes to his end step, triggering Wolverine to get a counter. Extra plays an Isolated Chapel, and goes to combat, sending Amalia and Elenda at Tom. Tom is forced to accept his fate, dying to the vampiric duo. This triggers Amalia to explore to the graveyard, alongside Will to pay 4 mana to draw 4. Extra then casts a Fel, destroying Storm, followed by a Lunar Convocation, and a reveal of Bitter Triumph, shattering Sam's delusions of victory. Accepting his fate, Sam concedes, making Extra today's victor.